Aruldos goes back to secretary and he tells that Margaya is not in a condition to come back or maybe come and meet you, sir. How much Margaya respects money and what is the importance of money in his life. He's not going to raise his hands, he's not going to raise his tone, his voice, no. And he calls his son Balu and tells, this is where I began and this is what I began with my career. Hello, hi, namaste and welcome to Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. I am Nandakishore, Faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, MYSURU. In today's session, I am going to talk about the important quotes from the novel The Financial Expert prescribed to third semester BCom and B.B.A students. So let us straight away start with the quotes from this novel. The very first quote is told by Margaya to Aruldos. Tell your secretary that if he is a secretary, I'm really the proprietor of a bank and that he can come here and meet me if he has any business. He says, Margaya tells this to Aruldos. And if you go through this novel, you get to know that Aruldos is a peon and he comes on the orders of his secretary to invite, to call, to warn Margaya about his wrongdoings. And Aruldos knows that what Margaya is doing, sitting under the banyan tree, is exactly wrong thing. It's exactly opposite or maybe against the law. So the secretary sends a word through Aruldos, and once Aruldos comes and instructs, warns Margaya about the words from secretary. Now Margaya is triggered. Margaya is a bit angered and he tells these words to Aruldos that if your secretary is really a secretary, he is just an ordinary after all secretary and I am the real proprietor. I am the owner of which bank? Central Cooperative Land Mortgage Bank. And you can go back and tell your secretary that if he has any business he has got to do, he's going to come back to me. He has to come to me and talk to me. Let him come and talk to me. I'm not a kind of a person who is willing to go and join my hands or maybe cross my hands and bend over my head and talk to your secretary. Don't expect that to happen. Because Margaya is such a kind of a person who always knows in and out of this doings, especially from the banks. He has somehow got all of the applications, the bond, right? And he is trying to lend it to the peasants. And he believes what he is doing is not against the law. He feels that indeed he is helping out the peasants in gaining loan or in getting loan. So that's about the first quote. Let us move on to the second quote now. Nonsense. Don't make false statements. You will get into trouble. Reports have come to me of your activities. Here is my warning. If you are seen here again, you will find yourself in prison. Now, this is told by secretary to Margaya. Aruldos goes back to secretary and he tells that Margaya is not in a condition to come back or maybe come and meet you, sir. It is not told in the novel, but it is presumed that Aruldos reaches the same message told by Margaya to his secretary. And secretary is in a higher position. He is the responsible person in the bank. He is holding a high designation. And knowing this, he cannot keep himself quiet. The secretary has to take countermeasures to tackle what Margaya is doing. So he comes and warns, nonsense. He says, nonsense. Don't make false statements. Because secretary knows that Margaya has somehow got all of applications which belongs to Central Cooperative Land Mortgage Bank. And being the secretary, it is not an easy task to let go anybody who has done a crime or who is doing an activity against the law. So he takes charge, he comes and says, you are making a false statement, you will get into trouble. And he also warns, if you keep blabbering anything that comes out of your mouth, if you keep back answering me, a person like me, the secretary of this bank, I can call the police right now. And it tells further, reports have come to me, I have got to know of your activity. Here is my warning. If you are seen here again, you will find yourself in prison. Because I am going to call out the police right now. And you can get arrested. So make sure that you are not going to make yourself available in front of this bank under this banyan tree in your rugged appearance. I don't want to see your bloody face. That's what the message is clearly given by the secretary to Margaya. Let us move on to the next one now. In next one, he has every right because he has more money. Now this is real Margaya who speaks. This is very important. He has every right because he has more money, authority, dress, looks, above all, more money. This is very, very important. Look at this two words repeated again and again. It is money which gives people all this. Money alone is important in this world. Everything else will come to us naturally if we have money in our purse. Try to imagine just in one quote, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 times this word money is repeated. And what does it show? It shows how much Margaya respects money and what is the importance of money in his life. And this is told by Margaya to his wife, Meenakshi. After the embarrassment situation in front of the bank, Margaya comes home. He will have his meal, he goes to bed, but he is not able to get sleep. He is not able to sleep. And at midnight, he wakes up his wife and tells that this is what happened with me today. And on the other hand, Meenakshi tries to boost his morale and he goes on to tell that I am being manhandled, I am being treated like this, it's because I don't have money. And he says, that person, who is he? The secretary. Every right because he has more money, because he is drawing the salary of 500 rupees a month, which is a great amount back then. And also he is in the high designation post, authority. His dress, the way he dresses up, he compares himself with the secretary and looks above all, the power. More than that, it is money. It is money which gives people all this. So all this authority, dress, looks, everything as a matter of fact. So which gives people all this. Money alone is important in this world. Money alone. It is not anything else. No bondage, no relationship, nothing. It is only money. Everything else will come to us. He says everything else. Be it knowledge or be it any feeling for that matter, be it happiness or anything. If you have money, it will definitely come to you. Everything else will come to us naturally if we have money in our purse. We got to have more money. And that's how a person will be respected. And that's what I deserve in my life. And then that secretary will have to call me Mr. and stand up when I enter. No more torn mats and dirty, greasy saris for you. Our boy will have a cycle, he will have a suit and go to a convent in a car. Now again, this is told by Margaya to wife. He says that he is going to find a way, and he has indeed found a way by publishing the textbook, the textbook Bed Life. And he says that he knows, he feels that he is going to mint money. And dreaming of all these pictures, he promises his wife, Meenakshi, he tells that secretary once upon a time who humiliated me, who embarrassed me, who insulted me will have to call me Mister. Yes, he's not going to raise his hands. He's not going to raise his tone, his voice. No. That bloody person has to come and show me some respect, which I deserve, which I always did. And moreover, you know what? He says, you know what? No more torn mats and dirty, greasy saris for you. And you're not going to wear any dirty saris as such. Our boy will have a cycle. Our boy, Balu, he is imagining, will have a cycle and he will have a suit and go to a convent in a car, which later literally happens. So these are the promises made by Margaya to his wife. Let us see the next one. Shouldn't you mind your health? One good line. And this is told by Meenakshi to her husband, Margaya. So when is it? When Margaya starts using this lamp, kerosene lamp, and starts looking at the account book. He is so fond of money. And later on, he mints money. As a matter of fact, he mints money by publishing Bed Life, and also he tries to run his own business, investment business, where he reaps a huge reward, a big amount of income. And his house is completely filled with bundle of notes. Everywhere, every nook and corner, Meenakshi could see, literally she could see bundles of notes. And looking at this, she is not just amazed, she is not troubled, but looking at her husband who is sitting at the night, late nights, using this kerosene lamp and trying to look at this ledger or maybe the account book. He is not even consuming food. He is just running his day with a glass of tea or a coffee, and he is not having his meal properly. On time? Never. He's not going to bed on time? No. What is he doing? Rather than maintaining his health, he is trying to maintain his account, his money. And the consequence is such that he has got spectacles and even his eyesight is deteriorating, and he has got dark circles around his eyes. He has become thin and gangly. Now looking at this, Meenakshi, out of concern, being an ideal wife, a perfect wife, she asks Margaya, shouldn't you mind your health first? And do you think that money can buy health? It's a good question actually. You may have money, but will you get health if you have money? You may buy anything, but can you buy time and health? You can't. It's a good thing that Meenakshi questions her husband. To this, he replies, he's very much particular about his job, his profession. What's wrong with me? He asks. Margaya is asking Meenakshi, wife, he says, what's wrong with me? I'm all right. If you feel you need anything, go ahead and buy it and do what you like. Very important. Here, when the line says, do what you want. As a matter of fact, Margaya is telling now, I'm not bothered about anything more. No, because I have plenty of money now and I want to double it maybe. I'm all right. I might look very thin, I might look sick, but I'm happy, very healthy. If you feel you need anything, he says anything for that matter. It is left to the perception of the reader. When Margaya says anything, it literally meant anything. Go ahead. Don't ask me. Don't wait for my permission. Go ahead and buy it and do what you like. So Margaya has given complete freedom to his wife only because he is not free. He is not free to have a talk with his wife or to spend some time with his wife. or rather I would say he's completely occupied only with one thing, money. And then take any money. And also he goes on to tell his wife, he moves ahead, one step ahead and tells, take any money you want. So no husband would ever do this. No husband would ever tell his wife, take any money you want. And Margaya is filled with so much of money in his house. He tells, take any money you want, only leave me alone. Okay, don't bother me. Please. I want to be left alone, and that's the peace I require. And that's what I deserve. That is a sort of a food to my body and my mind. This is a very last and important quote. One of the important quotes out of all the quotes we have discussed now. You see that box there? I have managed to get it out again. Its contents are intact as I left them years ago. A pen and an ink bottle. You asked for my property. Yes, there it is. Take it. Have an early meal tomorrow and go to the banyan tree in front of the cooperative bank. I'm showing you a way. Will you follow it? Now these words are told by Margaya to Balu. When was it? This is the ending scene where Margaya loses everything. And he calls his son Balu and tells, this is where I began and this is what I began with my career. And I expect you to do the same thing. He says that I have managed to get it out again. Its contents are intact. The most valuable possession of Margaya. In the novel, the very first scene we get to see, we talk about this tin box where it contains pen, ink bottle and the account book. And he is showing the same account book, the same tin box to his son and telling, after I have lost everything I had, this is where we have now, where we have reached now, and I expect you to start over again the way I did. And in response to this, Balu says no, actually. He doesn't want to take up this responsibility. He tells that I'm not so interested in it. It's a sort of a message from Balu's end saying that just because you did, does it mean that even I have to do it? These are the important quotes, and definitely you can include these quotes in your 10 marker answers. And those who are planning to score good marks, the more marks, maybe the best marks, you can definitely by heart or mug up and write these quotes in your examinations. That will definitely fetch you more marks. So that is for today's session. I'm going to meet you in my next session. Until then, have a good day. Take care.